Hello everyone, it's Amy and welcome back for week 29 of the new Build Your Stash and Craft. Today we are going to make butterflies and dragonflies. And what we bought last week was some clips and some wire and flowers in a couple of different styles. I took all my flowers off the string already, mostly, and then I just piled them up and put them under something heavy to straighten them all up because a lot of them were very wrinkled. And then I just stuck them in these little yogurt containers just because I had them. And little containers like this are nice to store your things. Out of what I took apart, I have a bunch of these little tubes, which make really nice like boho beads or fabric beads and paper beads. And then I got a bunch of these beads also. So I just stuck those in a container, and I'm actually going to make a little a stand to hold all of these containers. And I will show you that at some point, whether I show you how I do it or just tell you how I do it. I'll try and show you how I do it, like as an extra video somewhere, just depending on when I get the time to do it. It may not be till this fall because this summer just seems to be really busy. But I didn't take these apart because I did want to show you this. This is like the lei came with 2 bracelets and a headband. And I didn't realize that the lei itself was on string, but both of the bracelets and the headband are all on elastic. So what I'll do is I'll just go through and I'll just, take the elastic and look for where the knot is, and then I will just cut it right there. I'll just cut it at the knot. And then what I'll do is I'll wrap this elastic up because I might have a need for it. And so, I'll just take everything off and then just take that bit of elastic and just wind it up and keep it, because you never know when you're going to just need a little bit of elastic. This is big enough to go around somebody's head because that's what they made it for. And what I probably will do with this is after I get the other 2, I'll wrap them all together and just take a bread twisty tie and twist it around there to hold it together. And then I will either put it with my sewing stuff, which would make sense, or I will put it in with the rest of this, just because I'll know that that's like, oh, I've got a little bit of elastic from those leis. And so that may be where I go and look. So I might just go ahead and keep it in there if I don't put it in with my sewing stuff. But like I said, then I just picked up all the flowers and then I just stuck them under a book. And that just helped the ones that were kind of wrinkly. I wasn't trying to make them super flat. I just wanted the ones that were folded especially to flatten out a little bit. And I wasn't really planning on taking these off, but now that I have, I need to pick them all up and stick them under something. Oh, and actually, I stuck some of them, I stuck the blue ones underneath the book weight that we made last week. It was sitting here and they were a little more unruly, and so I kind of put some together and that was sitting there, so I just took one end of it and stuck it on there. Then I picked up the rest and stuck them under the other end. It worked really well. So there we go. So now I've got those and I am going to set those aside. There. My bag of rice was sitting there. And then I'll just put all of these little tubes. It's really fun when you buy things like this and you get all of these little extra bits. It's just like a bonus. So today, dragonflies, butterflies, very simple, but I've got a few different little tricks that I wanted to show you also. So your regular butterfly is you just take one of your 5 petal flowers, and what you're going to do is you're going to take one petal off, but you're just going to cut it down. There's a little hole in the center where the string went through, or where it was hooked to a stem, if you got one on a stem. But so just go down between the 2 petals right where that split already is, and just cut it to that little hole in the center. And then this is the one we're cutting off, so we're going to go to the other side of that same petal and cut it down to the center, right to where that hole is. And there we go. that's our butterfly. Now you can shape your wings a little differently, however you want to do it. And once you make your butterfly, then you're going to make a body for it. Butterflies have antennas. So we are going to take our wire and make an antenna. It's very odd how they did this wire. I'm going to cut it. Those cutters don't work very good. Okay, don't tell anyone that you saw me. This is a really thin wire. So, but you never should cut wire with your scissors. It will dull them. Can put dents in them. There we go. But they had both ends of the wire hooked together. Usually one end is wrapped around and then the other one is loose. And you can pull that out. Okay, so we're just going to take some wire. I'm going to set that piece aside, but I can probably use that later. And I'm just going to fold a piece about as long as I want my antennas, remembering that we're going to put a circle at the end, you know, just a little curl. And so I'm going to say I want about that much. So now that you've got your little V in your wire, what I do to make it stick better is I take it and I put a little loop at the bottom. I just pull this one this way and pull this one this way, and it just puts a little loop there at the bottom. Excuse me. So, that way I've got a little bit more to glue to there. Then I just kind of round it a little bit. And this one's way too long, so I'm just going to cut a bit off of that one. And you don't even have to round them. Like this actually looks kind of cute just like that, especially if you're doing like a beetle or something like that. I don't know why with the butterflies I like them to be rounded. So I just take one of my skewers and just take the very end of it and kind of wrap it around the skewer a little bit just to give it a little bit of a round. Whoops. So just do that on both sides. And then whatever you're going to use for your body, you know, we got some of the bling for this week's project, so that's what I've been using. But you can use thin ribbon. You can use all sorts of things. You can even cut a little piece of the purple and cut it in an oval shape and make it the body. So you don't have to have anything special. So I just kind of held that up to how big my butterfly was, and I thought that 5 of the little blings looked like a decent length for the butterfly. So I'm just going to cut that off. And when you cut these apart, if you want them to look a little bit neater, what I do is, now this edge looks really good. And this edge has just, it's got just a little bit of the hairy stuff sticking out. And so does the end. So what I try and do is I just try and kind of just go really close to the edge and just kind of trim that down a bit. I don't like those little threads sticking out. You may not mind at all, and so that's totally up to you. But so then when you go to do your first row, just push your scissors up against your bling, and it will cut that nice and close. And it's easier to do it while it's all hooked together than to just cut right down the center and then have to trim both sides, because now there's not a whole bunch of thread sticking off either side. It's nice and close. You can't really see it. Whereas like this one, if you can see it, it has all these threads sticking out. So then before I cut that one off, I just go in again and I just cut really close to that. And then to cut it off, I cut really close to this side, the one I'm cutting off. Just cut really close. Push your scissors right up against each of those little things, cut the 2 little threads, and then push it up against the next one. And you get a really nice clean cut without all those little hairies on there. Now, some people don't mind it. Some people might even like it. So it's just however you want to do it. So once you get that done, then what I do is I just take it and set it on a piece of parchment with my little antennas. And I use our super glue. I don't remember if we got this. We might have got this for this week, or we had it in our stash, one or the other. I'm trying to think, and I can't remember. And then I just put a little bit of that super glue right on the top circle, which would be the head of our butterfly. And then just take the antenna, put it on there the way that you want it to look. And then the only thing about that is you really need to kind of set it aside. Sometimes I'll put the body on the butterfly and then attach the antenna and use the little clips and a piece of parchment to hold it all together. I found out that it's easier to just do it like this and just let them sit and dry, and then just have them ready when I'm ready for them. So because when they're all done, this is a different one, when they're all done, then you've got it there, and you've got your little body and your antennas, and you're all ready to go. So I have a couple of those here, and all we're going to do is glue it right to our butterfly. Now, do we want our butterfly to be just like that, or do we want it to be maybe a little more colorful? So you can use your watercolor markers. You can use anything that you have. We had this glittery paint, which looks really pretty on our butterflies. I need to cover this up. This is definitely one I don't want oozing all over, and I don't want to leave it open. So we could maybe just take like a little bit of this pink and one of our paint brushes, maybe I didn't bring out a paintbrush, so I'm going to use one of my regular paintbrushes, but we do have paintbrushes in the series, so I'm not using anything that we do not have. And then just paint it on there. Just get those sparkles on there, and it just totally changes it. Maybe if you're doing something like a fairy journal or something. And if you're doing fairy collage, I just thought of that. I really hadn't thought of that. If you're doing like magazine collage and stuff, and you want a fairy, and you want butterfly wings, how perfect would these flowers be? Unless it's really super big. But I don't know if you can see the glitter on there, but it looks very pretty. And just going to let it dry. And then glue the body to it. So that's a really nice way to just quickly, change them up just a little bit from the way that they were. And I like to sit sometimes and just play with them. Just make a bunch of them in all different types of ways. So now that one is sitting there. Let me put it on this piece of parchment because I just folded it in half. Of course I would, Those kind of things happen. So there we go. We'll put that one there. So we could also take one and use put that in my water. Let me see, I have to decide which one I want to take off, because that makes a difference sometimes too, the way that they're colored. Like maybe put those two on one side, they have quite a bit of white on them. Put these two on the other, or maybe take off this one because it's really purple. So again, now my hole for this one is way down there. I don't want to cut to there. I just want to cut to the middle of my flower. Normally, those little holes are in the middle of your flower. But I just want to cut down just like that. Cut out a little teardrop shape. And there we go. So now we have this one. So let's say you didn't get these when we bought the paint. You got maybe a different kind of paint or something. You can use your markers. Your watercolor markers work great because once you use them, you can, let's use a different color. Let's use some yellow. You can get them wet and let that color kind of soak into your butterfly. So a lot of times I don't really even pay attention to like how I'm doing it. I just get the color on there. So now we have some yellow color on our butterfly, and then we just take our water. Okay, now I know I brought the water out here. Seriously, what did I do with it? Well, Okay, I have some water over here, I think. All right. I do have water in a hairspray bottle for the series. Today has just been one of those days. But just go ahead and get that on there. See how it's running all off all over my hand and dripping there. Normally, I would have it sitting down on something so that the color kind of stayed there when I sprayed it, stayed underneath, and then you get kind of a different, you know, it just dries however it dries. And wherever it was like puddled underneath the butterfly might be a little bit darker than some of the other spots. Give it one more spray. And so there we go. We can change it. We can change the color with any kind of paint, any kind of marker. Now, if you use a permanent marker, then it's gonna, where you put those lines, that's where they're gonna stay. But you may want to use a permanent marker. You might want to draw a pattern on your butterfly wings. Now, you can take these ones that you've cut off, and don't throw them away. You can use them with maybe some of your dragonfly wings. So we're going to make a dragonfly, and to make a dragonfly, you just cut to the center just the same way, but then you're going to use 2 petals. So you're going to skip a spot and then cut it off so that you have 2 petals. These scissors are not the sharpest at the point. So the look of your dragonfly is going to be 2 petals like that. So we've got those 2 petals, and I think maybe I like the coloring on these 2 petals. And it's okay to pick and choose, because I'm going to use this one that I cut off with those 2 blue ones, and I'm going to make a colored butterfly. So we're going to take these 2, and we are just going to, and you don't even have to, there's not really even a right side or a wrong side. And again, we can color this with the pretty glitter. We can color it with the markers. We can leave it just like it is. Now, when I do this with one of them, I kind of just cut off a little bit of the point like that. And that's just so that that point is not sticking way out to the edge here, because I'm just going to layer those points up. Oops. That one does not want to stay. You guys, the dogs have decided it's time to play. Okay, Pee-wee, and that is Papa's dog, and she is telling them they're not supposed to play in the house because she's the old matriarch here. So we're just going to put those together just like that. So one has a point on it to give us extra room to glue to. The other one, I cut the point off so that the line where I cut it pretty much comes right down the middle and gets covered up by our body. So I'm just going to take that, and that, you know, they're flower petals. They are not, just put a little glue here. You know, there's nothing to them, so they don't need to be put on there with the heavy, what do you call that? Super glue. Just put some glue on the point, and then put the flat part right on top of that, the one that we cut the point off of. And that just kind of brings, it gives us a little bit more space to glue our body. I have to set it down. These are not good things to do in your hands. Oh my goodness, I can't believe they never play. Actually, though, it's very, very windy and almost feels a little bit like it might rain. So maybe there's something going on with the weather. Pee-wee, stop. Don't be so bossy. Alrighty. And so then with our dragonfly, again, I'm going to cut off the little threads on the side, and then I'm going to cut right up against each of those little bits of bling. And the last time that I made these, I was instructed that dragonflies do not have antennas. And you know what? They really don't. I went and I looked, and they do not have antennas. So our dragonfly just gets a body, and it doesn't need to have antennas put on it. So now, because this is plastic, it is something that I will put on with the super glue. Because it's plastic, I don't like to use like regular glue with plastic, because I just feel like it doesn't hold as well. And I'm just going to put the glue right there in the middle. And leave one of the little bits above. And there we go. So now there is our dragonfly. So they're just, and again, you can switch them up so many ways. So here is a butterfly that's already done, that's got the glitter on it. Oops, need to do this one back up again. And this dragonfly, when I was cutting out a bunch of the bodies and they were sitting there, one of them flipped over. So it has a silver body. I was debating whether to get silver or gold, and I decided I wanted the gold. But now I have both, because the back side of the gold is silver. So it doesn't have the indents in it, but it doesn't need to. It makes it even more unique. So, and then I have a few bodies here that are waiting to go on butterflies. These are all done. And here is, this one was colored with a blue marker. No, this one was painted with the blue glitter paint. This one was colored with the red marker. That's the one we just made, that we just made it just like it was. And where's, oh, here. This one needs a body, but this one is a butterfly that was made out of the 2 pieces that were left and 2 pieces of the blue. And so I just glued them together with regular, I really apologize. You guys go. I have no idea why they're acting like that. This is, well, you've been watching my videos for years. This is very uncommon. And I don't know how to edit anymore. I used to be able to edit, then my editor quit working. It was like a free edit thing. And so now I can't edit it. And okay, you guys, oh, I have a feeling I know what's going on. The new dog is having a fit, so the old dog is playing with him, thinking he's playing. Hold on, I have to put them out. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Get out. I have a feeling there's a possibility that the cat snuck in here, because they were just barking at underneath my craft table here. And so I'm guessing she's under there somewhere. And the new dog is just infatuated with her, and she doesn't like him, and she won't have anything to do with him. And so that's, I think, what was going on. So there we go. So we've got the glitter ones. Here's one that's already done. We've got one that we use our leftovers with. So don't forget to do that. You can use paint, you can use glitter, you can leave them just like they are. Butterflies have antennas, dragonflies don't. But if you want to even make your petals, if you want to make your wings a little differently, how about a pattern like that? And this was really easy to do. I had fun doing it. And I can't wait to show you how to do it, because actually it's really fun. So we're going to put that one on there. And as a matter of fact, I might as well just do that right this second so that they will be done. And when I said that dragonflies do not have antennas, and that I was, instructed that they don't in the last time video that I did on this, I really appreciate the person who told me that, because honestly, I never noticed that they did not have antennas. And there was a few people that told me, and I just never noticed it. So I was really happy, because now I know that. And if you know what, if I want to put antenna on my dragonfly, I can. But it's nice to know, the correct way, or what they really should look like. And then I'll know if I'm just making my own kind of dragonfly, or one that really looks more like a real dragonfly. So there we go. Those are those different types. Now, let's make one with a pattern on it. So what we're going to do is we are going to take one of our petals. And we're going to cut it just the way that we would cut it if we were going to use it. And now we have another butterfly there ready to go. Then we're going to take some fun foam. Just our regular fun foam that we have in our stash, and put that petal on there and draw around it. So that we know how big our wings are. Now, if you have different size petals, you can do these differently. You could do something that's just very generic. You could just do just spots, and it doesn't even have to be the shape of the wing. But if you want the wings, if you know, and this is a little bit maybe hard to see, but if you can see, the top wings have the same pattern on them. Now, the bottom wings also do, but what I did was I first stamped here, and then I stamped off here. So the pattern would be lighter and more blended in on the bottom wings than it was on the top. But that's the same pattern because I made my own stamp and stamped it on there, and this is my wing stamp. And I just used this and stamped it on there, and that's how I got my wings to have a pattern in a really fast, easy way. So you just have to make the pattern one time, and you're all good to go. So normally what I do is I have pens when they run out of ink, and you want a ballpoint pen. When a ballpoint pen runs out of ink, and also like a lot of my petals, I already colored them up with some different colors. This one's got purple and pink. I colored them up before I even cut them, just because I had them there. And what I did was I used our plastic and watercolor marker and sprayed it with water, and then just folded it over on top of the flowers, just like we do when we make our watercolor paper. I was looking for the pen I had out here. Here we go. So this pen's got washi tape on it because it's out of ink, or pretty much. You know, you will totally run out of ink in your pen, and then you'll start using it for this, and all of a sudden ink will start coming out. But that's okay. But the thing is that if it doesn't have ink in it, then that ink is not going to get on your project. And if it does have ink in it, that ink could possibly, depending on how hard you press, it could transfer. So I'm going to do a really quick, I've showed you lots of times how to make a stamp. If you just look up homemade stamps or handmade foam stamps, I have quite a few videos on that, and that will show you if you don't know. But all I'm doing is I am using this as a ballpoint pen, so you know they roll really nicely. And so it presses into the fun foam, and it presses it down so that the ink will not stick in that spot. And so that's what I'm doing here. And you just kind of do it over and over. Don't try and press too hard the first time. Just keep going back and forth in that spot to get it pressed way down in there. And leave the fun foam, you know, the rest of it sticking up. And what's sticking up is what is going to, is the part that is going to put color on your butterfly. So now I'm just going to, I went up and down. Now I'm going to go across. And then we will cut it out and stick it on a piece of cardboard. And then we will put a handle on the back to make it easy to pick up, and it will be ready to go. But handmade stamps are very simple to do. They're very fun to do because they make everything yours. You could copy this same pattern that I'm doing right here, and when you're done, it will not be exactly like this, and it will still be your pattern. You did it, and you decided how many lines there were going to be and everything else. So, you know, I just love to make my own stamps. So now I'm just cutting out what I had traced. And there we go. So now, if you can see, there's lines going this way and that way. I'm going to glue this to a piece of cardboard to give it more stability. When you glue to cardboard, glue on the cardboard side, or if you need to glue on this side, sand that off a little bit first, because you want to really get it to stick well, and it doesn't stick as well to the shiny side. It will stick, but how long it will stay and how well it will stick, you know, is kind of up in the air. So if you just do it on the part that's cardboard, you know it's going to stick better. So there we go. Just get that on there. Make sure I really am trying not to get any glue on the top of my stamp, because if you do, then possibly ink will not stick there, or paint will not stick there. So just get that on there like that. To start with, just cut around it. Okay, now normally I would let this dry, set it aside and really let it dry, and make sure I get the glue off my hand. But for sake of time, because I wanted you to see how to do it start to finish, I mean, I showed you the one that I already did, but I want you to see how it works and how it turns out start to finish, so that you know that that's really how it happened. Sometimes, you know, you watch people and you think, but how did they do this, or how did they do that? You know, like you don't quite, you know, there's a step maybe that they didn't tell you, and so you're just trying to figure out what did they do. So now we have this butterfly here, and I'm going to put it put it on a piece of white paper. So we're going to take our stamp, we're going to put a handle on the back of it, and you put handles on your stamps with masking tape. You can use any kind of tape. I like masking tape. It seems to work really well. And so I'm just going to take a thin bit of masking tape, fold it with wings. So you're going to take each end, you're going to fold the middle up and stick it together. That's our handle. And then the little wings here are going to stick to our stamp that we just made. So now we've got this really nice handle to grab a hold of. They work great. A little bit of that stuck out, so I'm going to cut that off. Alrighty. So now we just decide, because we don't have ink pads, what are we going to do? We're going to use our kids markers. And I'm going to decide, what color do I want to put on there? How about blue and red? Blue and red? Blue and orange. Let's try blue and orange. Why not? So, and how do I want to orange on the, I think I'll put blue on the top and orange on the bottom. So you just color. I'm using the side just because it's bigger and puts the color on there a little faster. There we go. And then I'm going to put orange on the bottom. Just making sure that I kind of get the marker on the whole thing. Okay, now when you use these, because it takes a minute to get your color on there, after you've got it done, then just breathe on it. And that just goes ahead and makes it a little bit damp. And then I'm just going to kind of line it up with my wing and press down. Now, is this going to be perfect? Absolutely not. Now I'm going to stamp off on the bottom, which just means stamp a second time, so that the bottom's not quite as bright as the top. It just makes them a little different. I could also just use a different stamp, like the other one that I made for the top and the bottom. But see how that works? I just think, oh, let's leave it on the white. Flip this over. Can you see that? I just think it's just really cool to make your own stamps to color up your butterfly wings. Because you can, and then you can do it in any color. And now I've got 2 stamps to do butterfly wings with. And there's a lot of flowers here, so I can make a whole ton of butterflies with the amount of flowers that I have there. And now this is going to be just the opposite of the other side, because the stamp has been flipped over. So if you don't like it that way, then you can just go ahead and make 2 of them and make them opposites so that you have one for one side and one for the other. I really don't mind them being opposites. I kind of like it. I think it's more noticeable that there's something there. So those are just some of the ways that you can decorate up your butterflies and your dragonflies. I'm sure that you can come up with so many different ways. I think that they're a blast to do. And I've been tossing things around here. Oh, here it is. This is the one that we just did earlier. So kind of straighten that. Because it's wire, you can kind of bend it a little bit. But I hold it right where it's glued. Hold it where it's glued. And then do your adjusting. So, because I don't want to move where it's been glued, because that will just loosen it up. And I will put that one right on there. And I just think that they turn out great. I really have a good time playing with them. And it is a really nice project to just sit back and, you know, just cut out a bunch of butterflies, cut out a bunch of dragonflies, and, you know, just play around and just relax and enjoy it. Make your own stamps to stamp them with. Oop, he's upside down. And just really have a good time with it. So here's our stamps. There's one, and there's one. So I hope that you enjoyed this project. I really had fun with it. And there's so many things you can do. And you can also use your flowers to make flowers to put on cards or in projects or whatever. You know, you don't have to use them all for butterflies. You can use your little petals for lots of different things also. I don't know what happened to the blue one. It had like string on it. But yeah, you can look at those petals and think, what do they look like? This kind of looks like a raindrop. If you were doing something where you wanted to have raindrops maybe on it, but it was very pretty and, you know, and upbeat, you know, you could do colored raindrops, because I think that's pretty cool. I just thought of that. Alrighty. So this is what we did this week, and I hope that you liked it. But what we're going to do for next week. So next week we are going to make wax color. And this is, you know, we did this in the last series also. I really like this color. It's blendable, and I really like using it. So I'm going to show you how to make it. We are going to need, for next week, we are going to need this. I got this at Walmart, and it was $2.48, and it's called Soft Sheen by Carson, and it's Sport and Waves. Now this is a gel pomade with Wavitrol, okay? And the reason that I chose this when I did it the first time was the ingredients. I knew I wanted something that was like, that was a little bit, I don't know. Anyways, it has petroleum in it, and it has glycerin in it, and those were the two things, and paraffin, and those were the things that I was looking for. Excuse me. A type of wax, something to make it spread, and something to kind of keep it a little soft. So that's what's in it. And so if you can't find this one, but this is at Walmart, and it's $2.48. Then I got the gel icing colors. I really like the gel colors better than the drippy colors. Excuse me. They seem to be more, they have more pigment in them, they seem to. And they mix better than water does. Excuse me. Then we're going to need some sponges to spread it around with. So I got these from the Dollar Tree. These are kind of a nice solid sponge. They're the ones that kind of have the holes, not super smooth ones that are a lot softer. I wanted something more solid. You know, we always used to use these to spread things around. But the ones that I got at the Dollar Tree the last time, and I've been checking ever since, they're really super soft. And everything soaks right through them, and it gets all over your hands. And, you know, it's not nice and solid like these are. So we're going to try these type because they are solid. And so, and we can cut this into lots of pieces for the different colors. This one does have the solid top on it, and that's totally fine because, you know, that will make it, that'll give us something to hold on to when we've got the wax on our sponge. So we've got a sponge from the Dollar Tree, some mica powder from the Dollar Tree. This is just loose eyeshadow, and you can get it in lots of different colors. So I like the gold and the snow white or silver because they kind of go in any color. But you can also get the colors to enhance your colors. And containers. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. And I got these containers, I got them a while ago. I think now they're only coming in like 6-packs or whatever, but we're going to need some containers to put this in. Now, this does not really dry out per se, so these containers will be fine. I wanted the little round ones like this with the hard snap top, like you get like the little kids paints and stuff in, but they didn't have any. And so I had these here at home, and so I decided that I'm just going to use these instead of waiting until I can get the others, because I don't know if they'll come out with those again or not. I haven't seen them in a while. So that's what we're going to need. We've got the 3 items from the Dollar Tree, and so that is $3.75. We have $2.48 and $3.62 for a total of $9.85 for next week. Now I'm also going to show you that let's see. So here we go. So for next week, this is what we bought. I just made it $10 because I like to just round things off. So we had $71.50 in our bank when we started. We used $2.50. So then we had $69 left over. So I think for our big items, we are going to get a heat tool, and I looked these up on Amazon. Apologize for the phone. It's been a day. So I looked these up on Amazon, and basically they're running, like I saw one, a UK brand, or, you know, it was the Tim Holtz, but the UK plug or whatever. It was only $15. And then, but most of them were running somewhere between 20 and 26, 27. So I think I put down $25 for the heat gun. Now this is the heat gun I bought the last time because I didn't want to go buy another one. I already have 2 and this one made 3. And so we're just going to use this. I'm going to use this one, but I think a heat gun is a good tool to have. I like the Tim Holtz one because it's quiet. So when I am filming, it's a little bit easier. It's not as loud. Other than that, really, you know, you can get just the regular long stick ones. They're just a little louder and they're harder to use on video. So if you're not making videos, you don't have to get this one. And you can get the stick ones for about $20 and use that $5 for something else. So we're going to take $25 out of our bank for this. And when I was at Walmart, I picked up a bead tool set. And so this bead tool set was $20. It was $19.88. And it comes in a nice little case, which that's really nice to kind of keep it all corralled. And we have the little wire nippers, which these will nip really close to something if you've wrapped the wire, but it's sticking out. This will nip it really close. Then we have just a regular needle nose pliers with a wire cutter in there, which I'm sure will probably work better than the black ones I was trying to use today. Then we have the round nose pliers, and these are really, I can't tell you how often I use these. I use them quite often, and I'm not a bead maker. You know, I mean, I'm not like a jewelry maker much. And then we have the, whatever these are, the bent nose or whatever, and these really come in handy sometimes too. So it also comes with a bead reamer, and this is basically, it has a little cover on the tip. This is basically a file that is round, and if your beads in your hole if the hole in your bead is too small, this is a way that you can make it just a little bit bigger. You're not going to go from a teeny tiny hole to a great big hole. Maybe you could, but that would be a lot of work. But also, sometimes, your beads, like one side, the hole is really great, but the other side, it's almost closed up. This is really good to clean that out and to get a nice hole there. And then also it has this scoop, whoops. It has this scoop and pair of pliers. So, and the scoops really are handy for lots of different things. They're handy like for mica powder, glitter, and that type of thing if you're scooping it out of something. And they're also handy to like scoop up little tiny beads. So there's a lot of things in this set that I think really work great. Especially, I really wanted the round nose pliers and a decent pair of wire cutters. And it's nice to have these different things all. I grabbed that little plastic that flew off the tweezers, although I'll never keep track of it. Might as well put it back on there for now, though. So we're going to buy that for $20. So $25 for the heat gun and $20 for the bead tool leaves us now with a new balance in our bank, in our little savings account of $24. So I really was looking for punches, and I put like 5 punches in my basket. Like, I don't remember where it even was, Walmart or Michael's or something, and it wound up being like $70. And I thought, punches are they're not that important. A nice circle punch is, great. Like, but then you've got the fact of, do you want a 1 inch or a 1.5 inch or a 2, So if you really want to buy a punch, I suggest start with a circle punch because they're great. Corner rounders are really good too. Butterflies are good. Hearts are good. When you start getting into lots of different fancy things, and if I ever do a tour of my room, you're going to be like, well, you've got like a lot. I do. I bought them at D-Stashes, mostly in garage sales. Didn't realize just how expensive they are brand new. I mean, we did buy them for the last series, but then we didn't hardly ever use them. And butterflies, we'll make them every so often, but you can make them this way. You can make them out of paper. Once you make a shape that you like, trace around it and keep it for yourself. So, and I forgot one more thing that I had done. I went ahead and I took one of the butterflies and I went ahead and just decoupaged it onto a piece of our decorative tissue paper that we made a while back. And I thought that would be really cute. I'm just going to tear around it here to get a little bit more of an idea what it looks like. But you can cut around it too. It might look nice torn. It might look a little bit too tatty torn. I don't know. But I had to wait for it to dry to check it out. But because the silk flowers are very thin, you can see through them. So this is the side that the paper is on, and this is the side that the paper is not on. And see, you can see the little colored dots through there much fainter. So you could do it either way. And like I said, you can go through and then, actually cut the butterfly neatly to get that paper off of there. But I just wanted to see what it would look like and kind of see quickly what it would look like. I like it. I like it a lot. And I like both sides. I like the side with the paper, a little bit brighter, and I like the side without the paper because it's more of the shiny silk and then just the faintness in the background of the little dots. So that's what we need for next week. Those are the 2 big tools we're going to buy for now. And then we'll start saving up for some other things. And I think that if you go to a garage sale or a secondhand store or something and you see a punch, always try it first because it does make a difference. If they don't work, there's, you can kind of sharpen them this way and that way. Don't ever sharpen them with sandpaper. That is not what you should do. They say you can make them non-sticky with wax paper. You can make them a little sharper with aluminum foil, but don't do sandpaper because sandpaper can very much leave burrs on your punches. So, but yeah, I don't see a reason to spend $70 on 5 punches right now. $70 could go so much further towards other things to craft with. And, like I said, if there's like just one special punch that you just absolutely feel like you need, then go ahead and use the $20 that we have left in the bank to do that. But I just, or, you know, if you don't want the tools or you don't want the other, then use that money to maybe look at punches. I just think that right now they're just awfully expensive. So, but this is our project for today. I really had fun with this. I've been having fun playing with it all day, making the different things and trying out different things. And that's the fun part about it, is just playing around and having a good time while you're doing it. And I just think that it's really awesome. So thank you very much for stopping by. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. And I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.